This is Sour Diesel, a 2003 Ford Econoline ambulance, and it may look familiar but a little bit different because I already posted a video about this one ripping it all up, and it looks nothing like this. It's actually been in the shop for 2 months. We just got it back last week. We painted it. Now it's time to actually start building, so let's check this thing out. So the ambulance was actually painted in-house right here at UDO. This is a Raptor liner. We've got the tan up here, black base, and we're gonna go ahead and do a quick little tour of the inside. You guys can see that it looks almost exactly like it did when I finished ripping it up. So let's jump in here. We've got the thing that I hit my head on the most last time. Had to take this down so we could paint, so the air conditioning system is off of it. All the fans are off of it right now, but we've got everything up here. This TV needs to move over here. I had to rip the walls up last time, if you remember that. I pulled all the walls out, re-ran a bunch of wiring, so this is all the wiring that I had to run, basically for how we are going to build it. So if you remember this part right here, the kitchen galley, it was just like a metal box, no shelves, no nothing, no drawers. Then up here, there was another one, no shelves, no nothing. It was literally just a box. And this one was actually toured on Jared Tachi's channel. If you want to check out and see what it looked like previously, you can check that out. I'll link that somewhere if I can. I'm not sure if I can link someone else's videos. But the bed system we are actually keeping. So the bed is like a Murphy system. You just hit it on these hinges, it comes up, and then when you want to sleep, you just lay it down, you pull it back up. So with this build out, we actually have several challenges. One being there's not a whole lot of places for storage. This isn't going to be a full-time rig for someone. It's just going to be like a camping, hunting, fishing kind of thing. But there's absolutely no place to store anything. The Vanlife tech system that's underneath the cabinet is way too big and it takes up too much space. We have a refrigerator, we have a freezer, and they are large. They're both going in here. We have a microwave, and we have a ton of other things that are going in here. We still haven't figured out where we're gonna put the toilet. We have so much to do, but this is gonna be a great time for you guys to join along from start to finish. So you already saw me rip this thing up. We're basically starting all over with this build. Now you guys know my buddy Jared Tachi. He toured this thing with the guy that actually built it out originally. It was not finished. I can honestly say that it was a turd. So this thing is going to be sick, as you can tell. Step one of painting, it already looks a million times better. So let's go ahead, let's get into today's projects. I've got to do the battery, I have to hook that up. We've got a list over here. We have to cut the compartment for the fridge, meaning this big metal box, we have to cut it all the way up so this massive fridge can go in there. We have to decide whether to keep the heating system, meaning Vanlife Tech. Vanlife Tech is an incredible system, but it's way too big for the area that we have it in right now. So if we can figure out where to move it, we can do that. If not, we're gonna go with a traditional diesel heater, which will save a lot of space because they're like this big rather than this big with like 8 components. And then we have finalized galley compartment, which means everything that is kitchen related, we don't even have countertop space. We have to figure out how to do that in this rig. So if you want to follow along, watch us build this thing out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we're going to be posting videos on everything that we do in here. So I'm going to go ahead and get to work today because it's already late. I just finished installing the battery, and all of this other stuff I did not install. We still have to make it look good. Like this inverter is going to go over here and the battery's over there. But this whole system, for somebody who's not going to live in it full time, it's absolutely overkill, which is great, because this thing needs to be absolutely overdone. It's going to be a freaking monster. So everything up here is our control panel. We have this thing right here, which the overhead lights are on. You can control everything from this. The Vanlife Tech system basically is what I was talking about. It turns this on. It's a heating thing. Usually they have like radiant heating floors. We don't have that in here, so this is going to be super easy to rip out if we want to. We have to talk to the owner of the vehicle, see if he actually wants to do that, which our recommendations would be yes, because we have no cabinetry. This is literally just going to be a box for the kitchen galley that covers that up. You don't really want that. So it says it's 72 degrees in here. That's great because everywhere else it's like 100. San Diego is the best place on earth right now. So yeah, we have our full setup, and it can connect to anything. Like you can hook it up to your phone and change all the temperatures. It's wild. This thing has a bunch of accessory lights on the exterior, meaning if you're driving down a crazy dark road, you can hit those like light bars. You got amber lights. So I'm gonna turn these on. This electrical system was actually pretty good. I just had to take all the walls off and put wires everywhere for the lights that we're gonna install and the random things that we want in the build out. So we pulled the ambulance out. This is a box truck that you guys know about. This is the ambulance. I have to rip all of this stuff out. I don't have any space to film this, so I may just throw my camera inside the ambulance. There's a big hole you guys can see, but we got to get rid of it. We like it, but we don't like it for this situation because it takes up so much of the cabinetry, and we have to basically put a lot of stuff in here that we don't have space for. So this takes up too much space. We're going to be changing it out with the diesel heater that's like that big, and it'll sit way down in there. Remember that big shiny silver box that was at the top of this whole thing? Well, it was still pressurized with hydraulic fluid, and I done messed up. So yeah, that thing exploded right there. I am now covered in all of that. All right, so we have everything out. That's all the Vanlife Tech components. We are reusing that. This is gonna be cleaned up properly, I promise. But I cleaned this out. And we have an empty box. So what is going to happen? Water heater is actually going to be placed here. We're going to be having the diesel heater. We're installing that. We're going to fill all these holes, and we're having this massive freezer right in this area. But first we have to cut this even lower, so that line needs to be flush with the floor down there. And then up here we're going to cut this one out as well, and we should have enough space to do whatever we want in here, because this is the kitchen galley. If all of that stuff would have been in there for the entire time, there would have been no space for cabinetry, because that took up the entire thing, basically all the way up to the top where the cabinet face would be, not the cabinet face, the countertop. So yeah, if the countertop from ground to ceiling is going to be taken up, it doesn't give you any space. So my part of ripping all that crap out is done. Now Dave is going to come in and rip the walls out. Like I said, that metal right here, all that metal has to be gone. This metal we're keeping. Probably get rid of some of that, but it's gonna be loud, so I warned you. Turn your volume down right now.
I think I'm just gonna cut it like right here and over, just for the refrigerator. That's where we need the most room. Will you toss me that pad that's behind me? Thank you. Oh, that's nice for the old guy. Ah! Alright. Fucking jig.
I think it's like build day 3 for the ambulance, and yesterday I took all of that out and installed the diesel heater, got the water tank set up. Later today I'm going to be finishing that up. So that wiring harness, I need to run it up to this. This is where the Vanlife Tech system was. Getting rid of that, putting that in there. Then I'm going to do some of the actual plumbing to it just to see what we have and what we need to buy. But right now, you saw me probably a couple months ago take all of these wall panels off. I have to take one of them off again. This one needs to come off because we're going to be installing this really cool ladder from American Backroads, which is sweet. They custom made it just for this ambulance, so I'm going to take that off, help Dave drill some holes, get that thing mounted up there, and let's get going. Lost a screw. So I remember this panel being the worst one to get off because there's already electrical ran to it. I thought I could get it off without taking it out, but I gotta take it out. So luckily these are quick connects. You can just pull these out. Ugh. Not so quick to connect, disconnect. There we go. Alright, we got those. Now I gotta take these screws out here. Alright, we are good. Now it's time for the ladder. I need to learn my lesson that white shoes are not for the shop. They're all dirty. Someone sent me size 11.5 white Ultra Ranges. How long have we had this? Like 4 months?
4 months, dude. Finally getting on. Gotta clean her up. She's a little dusty.
Shop life.
Yep.
Where's she gonna go? It's gonna look good. Do you want it to be centered at least? Because right. It's gonna go any further. It's fucking on there. Got the ladder installed. What do you guys think? Looks good. It was a custom one for us only from American Backroad Co. Alright, what is this again?
Different says. This is the high lift jack mount.
So it puts a jack on it, right?
Yeah, so.
Ah, it's like the off-road mounts. Okay, cool. You have to have this for like lifted vehicles, I think.
Yep.
Cool.
Get you out of a pinch for sure.
So these attach to the metal of the bar of that little ladder. I'm gonna put heat shrink on these and hopefully it won't scratch the paint, so let's do that.
Is that your coffee over there, dude?
What?
Is that your coffee over there? You don't want it?
Drink it, you can have some if you want. You got another cup?
Yeah, dude.
Pour some in there. I usually drink half of it. All right, so this metal's gonna get really hot, but we're good. Oh my God, that's hot. Fudge, Jesus. All right, so these now, they're gonna be protected when they go against that ladder and it'll help it out. So on the ladder, this is gonna make contact as well. This is part of the jack. We're gonna put something right here so it doesn't scratch it.
It's not sticky, but.
Oh, that's still hot. Maybe it's the sun. I don't know.
Oh, from when you heat shrunk it?
Yeah, didn't work. We're gonna use electrical tape. By the way, if you're new here, hit that like and subscribe button because we're making content about building this ambo. Also traveling, podcast, all sorts of weird things are on my channel. So right now, it's all posted on one channel. Eventually, my podcast is gonna have its own channel once it gets big enough. So hit that like, subscribe button. Thanks for joining us.
I think we're gonna skip the large lock washer. Just use the small one. Yeah, as long as you don't cover up the sticker, dude.
You gotta show it off.
This ladder's a great place to stick a bunch of stickers, dude. Yeah, I just want to do
sticker bomb it.
Cover it.
Yeah.
I've been saving like all the stickers that he had from the parts he's ordered, you know?
Yeah.
If he wants them. Yeah, I like the red. They make them in all different colors. They're pretty sweet.
Red looks good.
Yeah, it's a nice little accent.
All right, so these are in. I just need to tighten them up. Basically what happens is you put your lift jack right here. It's for the lifted vehicles. So you just like loosen these up when you need to get it off. The long bolt, still going. There we go. You just attach there. You get stuck, you can lift it up, change tire.
Remember I put my smoke in my coffee down there?
No idea.
Dude, ask me something.
Yeah, I don't remember. We're good. That was much faster this time. All right, it's time to get the electrical set up. We're using existing wiring. This is what went to the Vanlife Tech system. And I'm gonna run it to this, and then our controller for it is gonna be up here in this wall. So we've got all that stuff. Let's get it. If you're doing electrical and you don't use these, you're slowing yourself down. So I just crimped that super fast. I'm gonna do a little bit more. So watch this. Just rips that sheathing right off. On this one I usually do about 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more. So this is live. I do not want these to touch. And I just remembered that. I just remembered these are live. But it's 12 volt, it doesn't hurt. It just tickles. Now we're going into this. This has a inline fuse right there. It is a, let's see what I can see. It's 15 inline fuse, which is good, it's great. All right, so also on these things, you've got a cutter on the back. We're going to cut, strip, I need more. So I'm gonna do the positives first. That way I can get the power actually going somewhere and not touch the wires on accident. I always recommend these pack outs. They're freaking amazing. So we're gonna be using this. These are actually like heavy duty ones. And they're very hard to crimp, but I'm gonna throw these in here. Now get you some of these. These are much harder to crimp than the cheap ones, so these are actually pretty expensive but worth it. So we take this, crimp it, I like to crimp it twice. Double check your work. Looks good. Solid connections, we're good there. So the diesel heater is live. I just have to connect it. And let's see what happens. So this is the remote that goes in the wall. Let's see if I can get it out of here. Oh, yes. Something you need. So if you're getting a diesel heater, make sure you get one with a remote controller. Why? Because when you're laying in bed, you don't want to get up, walk all the way over there and turn it on. This one, you can turn it on from bed. I do it all the time if it is cold, which it is currently not. So super important to get that, that's for sure. So we are gonna plug it up, screw it in. Now we're gonna see if our work works. Is our power connected? And nothing. Why is it not working? So the screen should have came on. What did we do wrong? Maybe a blown fuse. Let's check for a blown fuse. All right, so this is our battery cabinet. We may have a blown fuse right here. So there's really not like a good way to film this right now. Even with this wide angle lens, you can barely see anything. But I'm gonna check, see if there's any blown fuses. If there are, we'll change it. The bad thing about this system, the guy that did it before labeled nothing on the actual 12-volt panel, which on mine and everything else that I do, always label every single fuse. That way you know where to go when something goes wrong. So I found this blown fuse, which is a 20 amp fuse. It's probably the same one. The wire was actually labeled on the inside saying S-bar, which is a heater. But they have the Vanlife tech system, so S-bar, I'm not sure. We're gonna change this out, see what happens. So I've got a new fuse. Something that could have happened here is when I cut the wires, the system was on. We usually keep it off, so maybe it was on. I cut the wires and the metal's touching through the cable actually blew it, so we're gonna test it out now. Let's see. Let's see, we got lights on it.
What's up, bro?
We got lights on it. So we got UV 12 volt. Turn it on. It just said something in Chinese. Konnichiwa. It's probably Japanese. We've got air blowing through it. So I don't know if you can hear that. But it's got stuff going through it. Now we need to check under here. So if you hear that ticking, that is the pump doing what it's supposed to do. You can kind of see some oil going through there. So when you're dealing with all these like diesel heaters, you have to do a very important step on your first try. It's called priming the system. Basically what you're doing is priming the lines, taking the fuel from the gas tank through the lines, through the pump, through all of that into the system. So it's called priming. It will probably take a couple cycles, so we'll turn it on. We'll get probably, on mine it was an E8 error. And so if you get an E8 error, just like turn the system off, start it again, and let the system prime. I have to get back underneath the vehicle because I did this in my van as well, and I remembered doing it this way, which I was like, I'm never gonna do that again, but I did it again. I installed the fuel pump backwards, so the fuel line is going through the wrong way. If I turn it around and swap the lines, we're gonna get fuel to it, so I gotta get under there. Time for test run number 2. It was in some Chinese. So right now you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see, but it says oil on there. That's priming the lines. As soon as it primes, it'll switch over to operation mode. This thing's really cool actually. So that top bar right here tells you your altitude. We're currently at sea level because I'm right by the ocean. And if you go up in elevation, this thing actually works for it. So that's actually something that most Chinese diesel heaters do not actually do well, but this one does. So it's the last day in the shop. It's Friday. It's almost the weekend. I'm going to be working on electrical today to get that thing fully set up. We just got a Starlink in that was from Amazon. It was absolutely busted.
This is boss, dude. Look at this.
Package is destroyed, but the corner of it was broken, like dented in, so we got to return that. Can't be giving that to people. But yeah, I'm working on electrical. I already took the battery out. The goal for today, this shunt, the guy that installed this, he knows what he's doing, but the shunt was backwards, so I kind of question it now. This inverter is gonna go up on this wall, which means I need to move this track and that track to that wall, pin it to this, and then set it there. And then our batteries are gonna go back in here, up against the wall. So it's a pretty good project, pretty big, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of cutting wires, thick gauge wires, and crimping them. They're not the easiest to do, very time consuming. So I got the shunt switched around. Something super important when you're doing any type of electrical, make sure everything is tightened down extremely tight, because if you do it by hand, it'll wiggle. You gotta remember that these are on the road. You're gonna get a lot of road jiggle and wiggle. These things will come off, and that's when you start getting fire hazards, because if you have a loose connection, anything like that causes sparks, melting wires, and it's dangerous. So tighten everything super tight. Gotta clean this thing up. It is disgusting. Disgusting. Just like caked on dust and mud. I don't know how it got into the battery cabinet, other than the fact that this thing was sitting for 4 years. Someone built it. What's crazy about this ambulance, someone built it out for this guy named Mark, who owns the vehicle. The guy bought it like 4 years ago, and he's never seen it in person. So when we finish it here in about a month, it's gonna be the first time he ever saw it. And it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be rad. All right, time for a little progress update. Sorry about the lighting. Like I said, I'm in between two vehicles right now, and it's very difficult to get any type of good quality. But we've got our inverters already up. It's on that track system that was over here. And we have to change out, so these wires right here, those are gonna stay. That's gonna go to a on-off switch. Then I have to run a wire to the battery. All three of these are getting replaced with a much larger, I don't know if you can see. Can you see? No. All right, maybe this will help. Nope. Quality of camera. The quality of the camera's good. The quality of the lighting, not so much. But the negatives are gonna be taken out, because there's 3 of them. There used to be 3 rely-on batteries in here. Those are dead. We took them out. We're putting a game changer in there, which is 270 amps, and we're going to be running a solid wire, not a solid, a stranded wire, but a 1 wire all the way from that shunt to the negative post. Let's see, this is what I'm working with. Which way is negative? All right, let's check out the battery. This thing is a beast. The game changer. So we've got a lot of room back here. These wires are going to be ran a lot nicer. This is our positive post. It's going to go down into here to a switch, and then this shunt, I'm replacing those, putting it all the way back here. All right, so I had to go to West Marine and get one of these switches, because we already had one for this system, but I ended up using it for another job, because we had this ambo like 4 or 5 months ago, and it had so many mechanical issues that we didn't actually touch it for a very long time. So I got the switch. I have everything that I need. The whole thing is going to be powered up in like an hour. So let's go back to work. Well, I'm going to go get some food, maybe like 2 hours. All right, so food, then batteries. Yeah, and water. I need water. I have not drank water. I've drank coffee today. It's not smart. Drink water. Stay hydrated. So this is as far as I got today. We've got the wires ran from negative and the positive into this, which I have to put this obviously together, but up on the wall here. And it's Friday, so I'm done. I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm gonna shower. And that's what it's like to work at a shop. It's freaking fun. It's really cool. I get to do what I love every single day. I get to build cool stuff. Like, that ambulance is going to be unlike anything I've seen. If we did the entire like interior of it, it would be different, and it would be super freaking crazy. But it was already built out, so we're just working with what we have and trying to get it to where Mark, the guy who owns it, will love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like and subscribe button. I will see you all in the next video.